Hi, I'm Matt Shank, and welcome to my first video on learning how to study Chinese. Now, I'd like to start by saying I am not a language expert. I am not a professional linguist, and to be honest, my Chinese level is just okay. I've studied Chinese for the last 5 years, and I live in China, which helps a lot, but I started studying Chinese while I was still in the United States before coming to China. The reason I'm creating this video and this series of videos is because I've learned a lot of lessons over the years studying Chinese. I've had a lot of misconceptions that I've had corrected. I've watched virtually every YouTube video on how to learn Chinese, and I've taken every course. I've downloaded every app, and I want to just share with you what I've learned and hope that you can benefit from some of the things that I've learned over the last several years studying Chinese. Now, I'll be coming to this video from the context of studying Chinese. However, a lot of the concepts and the principles that I want to share with you are really applicable to any language, whether you're learning any language as your second language, Chinese, Spanish, French, English. I think these principles can help you. I think that learning a foreign language is a personal process, and it's a difficult process for anybody. I think that you will have to decide which strategies work for you, and the strategies that work for you may not work for someone else, and the strategies that worked for me may not work for you. In these videos, I'll share with you some of the apps that I've used, some of the strategies that I've tried, and some of the challenges that I've had along the way, and some of the aha moments that have helped me make progress in my language learning. I'm currently at an HSK 5 level, and if you're familiar with the HSK levels, you know that there are 6 levels. The HSK test is recently undergoing some changes, and they're changing it to 9 levels, but on the current system, there are 6 levels, and each level gets progressively more difficult. Level 5 is being able to have a conversation, communicate clearly your needs, but it is not fluent. And so I want to make that very clear that I'm not claiming to be an expert in Chinese or an expert in language learning at all. However, as I share some of these tips with you, I hope that some of them can be helpful. Now, you might be wondering, why learn Chinese from somebody who's not a Chinese expert, somebody who's not a language expert, somebody who is not even a native speaker of the language? And I've thought about that as I've had a lot of friends living in China. I have a lot of American friends and a lot of non-Chinese friends who are also really struggling with the process of learning Chinese. And a lot of them have Chinese friends, Chinese teachers, and they find the process so frustrating and so difficult. And so as I give advice and as I've interacted with Chinese teachers and Chinese friends, I've come to realize a few things about this. Number one, just because you're a native speaker of a language does not make you an expert in that language, nor does it make you qualified to teach that language. And so if you have a friend who speaks your target language, they're great to study with if you know how to use them as a resource. But don't depend on someone to teach you their language if they don't have any training or any experience in learning another language. If you're a native English speaker like me and you're studying Chinese or really I think a lot of Asian languages, you may find that the education system, the foundational philosophy of the education systems are quite different. And so as I sign up for class or interact with friends or teachers who are native speakers of Chinese, they come to the learning and teaching and learning process with a very traditional mindset, wanting to focus on textbooks and vocabulary and drill and kill study. And I have found that approach certainly can work, but it is hard and it is long and difficult, and I do not recommend that approach at all. The benefit that I hope to bring to these videos and that I hope to share with you is my experience as a native English speaker and as an educator, and I hope that you can benefit from some of these strategies that I'll share. So again, I'll go over some of the apps that I've used, I'll go over some of the strategies And most importantly, I want to focus on that I'm not teaching Chinese in these videos. My plan is not to teach you Chinese, but my plan is to teach you how to study Chinese. And again, that'll apply to any language. Why is it important to learn how to study? Well, first of all, because if you know how to study, then you can develop a plan that works for you. That'll also help you evaluate different apps, different programs, different teachers, different systems to learn Chinese. If you understand how you are going to learn and what things you can do to learn effectively, that opens the doors for you on more resources and how to utilize those resources better. There are so many free resources available in any language right now. And so if you understand how you learn best and practical strategies that will work for you, then you can evaluate the free resources and the paid resources and choose the plan, develop the plan that's going to work for you, that's going to make sure that you are effective. Learning Chinese has been one of the most interesting, challenging, exciting experiences of my life. There are so many native Chinese speakers, and what I have found is that so many Chinese people living in China can speak English, and so I can get around in China just fine with English. However, as I've developed proficiency in the language, I've found that I have made new friends that I wouldn't have had access to before, because maybe their proficiency in English isn't very good, or maybe they don't speak English at all. I've also found that there's a lot of nuance to the culture that you miss when you're working through translation. And then also, translators, whether it's a human translator or a machine translator, even with ChatGPT and AI, a lot of the translations are just not great. And finally, I think that when you're communicating with someone, if you're communicating through a translation app, it works. You can get your basic message across, but you don't get that same depth of understanding. You don't get that same human connection that you get when you can just speak directly to someone. And so if you're in a group of people or you're just talking face to face with someone, being able to communicate in their native language is just a really powerful thing. And it's been a really incredible experience for me. Wherever you are in your learning journey, I hope that you will benefit from these videos, and I hope that I can add some value to your learning experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.